Do you feel stuck? Sometimes we can have two competing mindsets that keep us stuck. One keeps us focused on what everyone else did to you. The other one, we just keep replaying in our mind over and over again, everything we wish we had done differently. And most women quietly bounce between each of those. 1 minute you're thinking, my life would be better if they had treated me different. The next minute, my life would be better if I had made different choices. But what if neither mindset actually leads to peace? What if constantly looking backward is the very thing that keeps you from moving forward? Today, we're talking about the emotional tug-of-war so many women live in and the freedom that comes when you finally step out of it. Hi, friends. Welcome to Taking Back Happy. I'm your host, Gina Granville. God's girl, retired homeschool mom of 4, empty nester, GG, essential oil and exercise enthusiast, Christian life coach, and someone who is taking back her own happy. I know many of you feel exactly like me in these midlife years, a sort of loss of direction, but you feel way too young and vibrant to sit on the porch and just watch life go by. What if you could reclaim your life, finding deep joy, renewed passion and purpose, and plenty of adventure in these midlife years? If you are ready to find your spark again, throw on those walking shoes, pop in those earbuds, and join me right here as we take back happy together. Hey, my Taking Back Happy friends. Do you want to connect? Meet me over in the Taking Back Happy Facebook group. That's a great way to get in there with other women who are taking back their own happy. Another way to connect is to become a TBH Insider. When you become a TBH Insider, you get weekly emails with the latest podcast, tips on creating a happy mindset, early bird access to special offers, and encouraging Bible devos. Lastly, I want to encourage you to take advantage of the Taking Back Happy Mindset Coaching Call. It's a free 1-hour coaching call, and we can talk about anything, the places that you feel stuck, the places you're struggling, or just somewhere you need a little bit of encouragement. Okay, friends, let's get into it. There are two unhealthy places that we tend to live. One is when we blame everyone else, and the second one is when we blame ourselves for everything. But the emotional maturity and healing can happen somewhere in the middle. We can find freedom in the middle of those two. So let's look at our first default. That would be blame, the blame game, right? My life would be better if they ... This is where we hand over our power. We hand over our strength. We hand over our hope. All those things. We get ourselves in the point where we feel like a victim. Here's some examples. If my husband had loved me better, if my parents hadn't damaged me, if my boss appreciated me, if my kids called me more often, if my life had treated me fairly. You can acknowledge sometimes people did hurt us or do hurt us or are currently hurting us. Sometimes circumstances are unfair or have been unfair. Sometimes betrayal has been part of our life story. Disappointment, rejection, loss, they're all really real. But that doesn't have to be the end of the story. When I was married and I was going through a divorce, I blamed everything on my ex. And for a great deal of it, he was to blame. I'm not saying he wasn't to blame, but I couldn't even see places where I was to blame. I couldn't even see a way out because all I saw was like, he did this thing to me and now my life is this. And now, we're getting a divorce. The kids don't have a mom and dad living in the same home. If only he hadn't done X, Y, Z, then this wouldn't be happening right now. And it was just blame, blame, blame. But what I found with that wasn't making me feel better. That was making me feel like a victim. That was taking my voice away, my power away. That was taking everything within me that, cried out for something more. it was taking all that away because I was like, nope, I'm this single mom now and this is my story. But what I didn't realize then, and I'm really just now starting to realize it, is blame keeps us emotionally tied to the thing we resent. If we think about it, blame feels empowering at first, but eventually it keeps us stuck because our future becomes dependent on someone else changing, right? If he would change, or if he wouldn't have done this thing, or if he, and really it's up to me, right? So you can't heal while you're waiting for someone else to become the person you needed them to be. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Keep and guard your heart with all diligence, and above all that you guard, for out of it flows the springs of life." So let's move on to what seems to be our second choice. Sometimes it's our first choice even, and that's shame. My life would be better if I hadn't ... This is the exact opposite extreme. Instead of blaming everyone else, we become the target of our blame, and that's where that shame comes in. We have some different examples like, if I hadn't have married him, or if I had made better choices, if I had stayed, if I had left sooner, if I were smarter or prettier or stronger. This is where women replay alternate versions of their life in their minds. They talk about the fantasy of the other path. The road that we didn't choose always looks perfect because we never had to live it. The whole idea the grass is greener on the other side, but this is not even the grass is greener. This is like an imagined, a fantasy of that alternate path, of that thing we did not choose. We romanticize the marriage that we didn't have, the career that we didn't pursue, the town we didn't move to, the opportunity that we missed. But every road has pain. Every life has sacrifice, and every choice comes with unknowns. My friend Luana and I talk about this often. So many times we think that thing that we didn't choose was the way to go. So a lot of times we talk about building business and building our life coaching business and our clients and our just everything. We've done a wellness business before. And it's always like, well, if I had done this other thing, then that would have been, that would have been just the magic thing, just the thing I needed to grow my business. But I didn't. I chose this other thing. And so we always just kind of build that up in our mind. And we do the same thing, with relationships. We do that with, I've done that with my mom, and what we're trying to do with, deciding where she's going to live in her senior years and what kind of help she's going to get and what kind of, services she gets. And I was like, maybe I should have chose this thing. Maybe she should have been living here. Maybe she should have gone earlier to assisted living. There's so many choices, and I feel like every other one seems to look better than the one that we choose in that current time. And it's not true. It's not a truthful thing. I can't tell you how many times I've thought back to like an old boyfriend, especially if you have a relationship that you're in right now and things are going south or things aren't going the way that you wish they were. And all of a sudden you just find yourself thinking back about good old Bob that you dated in high school, or good old Bob that you were with in college, or good old Bob, your next door neighbor, whatever it is. We think, wow, if I had only pursued this relationship with Bob, or if I'd only said yes when he asked me out, then my life would look totally different. And not just different, because it would look perfect, right? It would be like a picture perfect life. And that's where the problem of romanticizing comes in. And that's why shame and shaming ourselves is just so detrimental to us. Shame convinces us that one mistake has ruined our entire life. Can you imagine if that was even true? Like, you would have no hope. There would be no future because you'd be stuck in this mode forever. I made this mistake and now I've got this life and da 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 da. And we know that's not how God operates. In Romans 8:1, it says, there is Therefore, now no condemnation for those who are in Christ. So we know blame is not the answer. We know that shame is not the answer. We need to find a healthy middle. So what if I stop blaming and I stop shaming? This is actually the freedom point. It's not denial. It's not sticking your head in the sand. It's not pretending that people didn't hurt you. It's not pretending that you didn't make mistakes. I mean, all those can be true, and we can still find that place of freedom. But also, we're not building our identity around a victimhood. We're not building our identity around regret. This is where responsibility, grace, honesty, and healing all meet together. The healthier mindset says, yes, some things have hurt me. Some people have hurt me. Yes, I've made mistakes. I've made big mistakes. I've made small mistakes. And I still get to create a meaningful life from right here, starting today. And isn't that the whole story of Taking Back Happy, right? This is where we can stop obsessing over who failed us, what we failed at, and the road that we didn't take. And we can start asking, who do I want to become now? Long before the Taking Back Happy podcast came the Taking Back Happy thought. This probably was something that came to me about 10 years ago. And it wasn't like taking back joy, because I had the joy. I had the joy of the Lord. That never left, even through all the hard circumstances. But it was literally a taking back happy. It was like, okay, my life has gotten to this point. These are some struggles I've been through. I was newly divorced. I was coming out of a really difficult relationship and trying to find my voice again, find my confidence again. And I was like, I literally want to take back happy. I want to find out, okay, what makes me tick? What's important to me? You know, I have these kids that I'm raising, and they're growing up fast. What am I going to do when they grow up? Because right now I'm sinking all my time into them. I loved being a homeschool mom. I loved doing that. But I knew that was coming to an end, and I knew I had to find something else. I had to literally not just find a happy. I wanted to take back a happy. Your future is not created by endlessly just analyzing the past. You know, healing begins when we stop asking, okay, whose fault is this? Because it's easy to ask whose fault is this, right? And we start asking, what's my next step? I love that thought. It gets me excited because it's not denying my painful past, but it's like, okay, this is what's gotten me here. This is what I've gone through. These are my experiences. This is who I am today. Now what? And that really does get me excited. And I hope that gets you excited too. Isaiah 43:18-19 says, forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I like that verse even more in the New Living Translation. It says, but forget all that. It's nothing compared to what I'm going to do. For I'm about to do something new. See, I have already begun. Do you not see it? God wants to do something new in our lives. And for us to take back that happy and to be ready to receive that and walk in that, we have to let go of the blame. We have to let go of the shame, and we have to be willing to do this new thing and be excited when it springs up. So my taken back happy friend, blame keeps you stuck in what they did. Shame keeps you stuck in what you wish you had done differently. But healing begins when you stop living in the past altogether. You're not disqualified by what happened to you or by the mistakes you made. There's still purpose. There's still freedom. There's still joy ahead of you. Maybe today is the day that you stop replaying the past and you start taking back your happy. If this podcast blessed and encouraged you today, I'd love for you to share it with your friends. You can take a screenshot and share it in your stories, but make sure you tag me at Gina Granville so we can connect. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Make sure you join my Taking Back Happy Facebook group. I'll meet you back here soon, and we'll continue taking back happy together.